Very good, thank you. Good afternoon, members of the MAG Transit Committee. I'd like to call the meeting of May 16th meeting of the committee to order. A couple housekeeping items. As a general reminder, please turn on your mics and clearly state your name before speaking to ensure that members of the audience can hear you. And then please mute your mics when you're not speaking to eliminate any feedback. Also, as a reminder, phone attendees will need to press *6 to unmute themselves. Because this is a virtual meeting, a roll call vote will be taken for each action item on the agenda. To get the meeting started, we'll conduct a roll call of all its members. So Hannah, if you would.
Thank you, Vice Chair Link. I will begin the roll call. Ms. Dusenberry?
Here.
Mr. Dudley?
Here.
Mr. Banda? Mr. Crampton?
Here.
Mr. Macias?
Here.
Mr. Graves? Ms. Coomer?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Ms. McMurdy?
Here.
Mr. Kempton? Ms. Sorrell?
Here.
Ms. Colbath?
Here.
Ms. Arredondo? Mr. Kessler?
Here.
Ms. Wilkie?
Present.
Mr. LaPuma?
Here.
Ms. Corapella? Ms. Taylor? Mr. Stevenson?
Here.
Mr. Elias?
Present.
Ms. Ketcherside?
Here.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
And Vice Chair Link?
Here.
We have quorum. You can proceed.
All right, thank you, Hannah. Moving on to item 3, Transportation Planning Program Manager Report. Auditor Kessler Thomas from MAG Transportation Planning Program Manager will provide a report to the committee. Auditor, it's all yours.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Link, and a special appreciation for stepping in last minute on behalf of Chairman Sapien. Appreciate you stepping in to lead today's committee meeting. Just a few items for the benefit of the committee. First and foremost, I know I've had several conversations with many committee members over the course of the last weeks. Just a brief update on enabling legislation. Senate Bill 1356 has successfully made it through the Senate side of our House, and with the emergency clause intact with a 21-9 favorable vote. We're still waiting on a final vote to get out of the House, and hope as budget conversations continue, as well as other major items on legislative agenda, that SB 1356 will make it out with a successful signature by the governor by the end of session. If you have any questions, you can certainly reach me offline. In other items, want to extend a premature congratulations to both Valley Metro and the city of Tempe for Friday's opening of Streetcar. We're all very excited. So you know that this is a Proposition 400 sales tax funded project, and we're happy to support this regional endeavor. And then finally, excited about our forthcoming joint meeting with the Active Transportation Committee. We have an agenda focused on placemaking for your consideration. Again, by way of reminder, that joint committee meeting is scheduled for June 6th of next month. With that, Vice Chairman Link, that completes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions offline.
Very good, Auditor. Thank you. Any questions from any of the committee members before we move on? All right, seeing, hearing none, we'll move on to item 4. Approval of the March 7, 2022 Transit Committee meeting minutes. Do I have a motion? Do any of the members of the committee have questions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing and hearing none, can I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve. Anderson.
Thank you, Grant. Do I have a second?
Second.
From Goodyear. Jason can have it.
Sorry, Christine.
Who did you get a second? Hannah, did you get a name?
Vice
Jay-
Chair
Jason.
Link, yes, I have, Mr. Crampton is the second.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Jason. All right, Hannah will now conduct a roll call for the vote. Hannah?
Thank you, Vice Chair Link. I will begin roll call. I'll start with Ms. Dusenberry,
Aye.
Mr. Dudley,
Aye.
Mr. Crampton,
Aye.
thank you. Mr. Macias,
Aye.
thank you. Mr. Graves, Ms. Coomer,
Yes, approve.
thank you. Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Kempton, Mrs. Sorrell,
It's Miss Sorrell.
Ms. Sorrell, thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Colbath,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Arredondo, Mr. Kessler,
Yes.
thank you. Ms. Wilkie,
Yes.
thank you. Mr. LaPuma,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Taylor, Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
thank you. Mr. Elias,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Ketcherside,
Aye.
thank you. Mr. Anderson
Aye.
and Vice Chair Link,
Aye.
thank you. Are there any members who would like to vote who I did not call that are present?
This is Sean from Buckeye. I say aye.
Thank you, Sean.
Is that everybody?
All right. Thank you, Chair Link. The motion passes.
Thank you, Hannah. All right, moving on to agenda item number 4. This is the fiscal year 2022 5310 program recommendations for the Phoenix Mesa UZA urbanized area. This item will be presented by Dee Dee Gastia, MAG Human Services Transportation Planner. Dee Dee, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vice Chair and members of the committee. I will be presenting on the FTA Section 5310 Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disability Grant Program Priority Listing for the Phoenix Mesa urbanized area. Next slide. And next slide. The Section 5310 program makes funding available for capital and operating projects to support transportation services to meet the needs of older adults and individuals with disability when transportation is insufficient, unavailable, or inappropriate. Eligible applicants are private nonprofit organizations, public agencies where no viable private nonprofit organizations are available, and tribal government. The eligible populations are agencies serving older adults age 65 and older, and agencies serving persons with disabilities. Funding is available for traditional capital requests that includes vehicles, equipment, preventive maintenance, and mobility management projects. Also for eligible operating projects that exceed ADA service. In 2014, Regional Council approved MAG to coordinate and program the Section 5310 application process. The City of Phoenix is the designated recipient. Since 2014, the region has awarded $23.6 million and awarded 269 project requests. Next slide, please. This is a map of the Phoenix Mesa urbanized area in the blue area. For the rest of the state, ADOT coordinates the application and programs the Section 5310 application process. ADOT is on a 2-year application cycle. This year, they had a call out for mobility management request. Next year in 2023, they will open their call out for projects for traditional capital operating request. Next slide. In the region, we received 23 applications from 23 agencies with 42 project requests, with a total federal request of $4.8 million. The MAG and the City of Phoenix staff conducted a 2-week internal review to ensure all applications met federal eligibility and regional threshold criteria. The MAG Elderly Persons with Disability Transportation Ad Hoc Committee, I think I have the longest titles in my program. I will be referring to the EPDT committee, reviewed all 42 applications. They based on the following criteria. The applicants had the capability and experience to perform the requested project. They met project objectives. The budget was appropriate to the project, and the participation in regional coordination efforts has federally required. The group, next slide, please. The rubric was included in the application handbook, and at the proposal workshop, we encourage all applicants to review the rubric. The EPDT committee conducted a 2-day interview of all applicants who provided an overview of their agencies, described the need for the requested project, and answered any additional questions from the committee. The priority listing is based on the final ranking of all applications and the federal requirement of awarding not less than 55% for traditional capital request, including the 10% administration fee. And next slide. An overview of the projects on the priority listing includes 4 mobility management positions, 13 preventive maintenance requests, an equipment request, and 16 requests for vehicles, and 7 operating capital requests that exceed the requirements of ADA for over $4.8 million. Next slide. Thank you. This year, under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, the region received over a 35% increase in apportionment for the region, for the Phoenix Mesa urbanized area, which came out to $5.1 million. Last year, under the FAST Act, we received $3.1 million. We did have a carryover of over $500,000 from the last year application process from traditional request. For this year, we had funding available of $5.7 million. Due to the number of requests received, the priority listing reflects a total federal request of $4.8 million. We will have a rollover of over $8,000 that will roll it over into the 2023 application for traditional capital request. All projects this year are recommended to be funded. If all goes right, if all goes as according to plan, the priority listing will move forward to the MAG Management Committee for recommendation of approval, Regional Council for approval, to forward to the City of Phoenix as our designated recipient to develop the consolidated Section 5310 application for submission to FTA. Next slide. This item, the requesting committee action is to recommend approval of the priority listing of projects for the 2022 Section 5310 Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disability Program for the Phoenix Mesa urbanized area. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee Dee. As Dee Dee mentioned, this item is for action. Are there any questions from the or comments from the committee before I ask for a motion? Okay, hearing none, seeing
Wait a minute,
none.
I have a question. Sorry.
Yes, no problem. Go ahead.
I see you've got Phoenix Mesa UZA. What about the Goodyear, Avondale Goodyear UZA? Do they get 5310s or do they have projects also?
This, the Avondale Goodyear has their own funding pot. They are part of I believe, the ADOT application process. This is just for the Phoenix Mesa urbanized area in the blue area.
Thank
This
you.
is this is Christine. Yes, Dee Dee, that's accurate. If we want to use any of the 5310 funds, we go through the ADOT process instead of going through MAG.
Thanks, Christine.
You betcha.
Thank you, Vice Chair and members of the committee. And that's a really, good question. We are anticipating possibly a boundary change with the census coming up. We are really watching this closely, and we will confer with our GIS department. We do anticipate possible some smoothing of the boundary due to the census. Good question. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the committee? Hearing none and seeing none, could I get a motion for approval?
Vice Chair Link, this is Matt Dudley, City of Avondale. I recommend approval of the priority listing of projects for the fiscal year 2022 5310 Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities Program for the Phoenix Mesa UZA.
Great, thank you, Matt. Do we have a second?
Second, this is Ken.
Thanks, Ken. All right, Hannah, if you would, conduct a roll call vote, please.
Thank you, Vice Chair Link. I will conduct the roll call, starting with Ms. Dusenberry.
Aye.
Mr. Dudley.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Banda.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Crampton.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Macias.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Coomer.
Approve.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. McMurdy.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Sorrell. Ms. Colbath.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Kessler.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Wilkie.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. LaPuma. Mr. Stevenson.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Elias.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Ketcherside.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair Link.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any other members who would like to vote and are present?
Aye, this is Reed Kempton. I'd like to vote aye.
Thank you, Mr. Kempton. All right. Thank you all. And Vice Chair Link, the motion passes.
Very good. Thank you, Anna. Moving along to item 6, program administration funding for the city of Phoenix. This item is on the agenda, will be presented by Steph Stearns, MAG Transportation Planner, and this item is for action. Steph, it's all yours.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Link and members of the Transit Committee. I'm pleased to be here today. Just a heads up, this is my first of 3 action items for you, so I hope you don't get too sick of me by the end of this. Next slide, please. The Urbanized Area Funding Program, also known as FTA Section 5307, makes funding available to urbanized areas. Urbanized areas have an administrative entity that manages the funding to the FTA. In the MAG region, that administrative entity is the City of Phoenix. City of Phoenix is the designated recipient for the Phoenix Mesa UZA and the direct recipient for the Avondale Goodyear UZA. Next slide, please. According to the regional programming guidelines for federal transit formula funds, the second programming priority for transit funding in the region is to provide funding for grant management to our designated recipient, the City of Phoenix. Next slide, please. Some brief history on program administration in the region. From 2002 to 2018, the City of Phoenix was awarded $40,000 annually for program administration. In 2020, MAG Regional Council approved an increase in the amount of program administration to cover the actual costs incurred by City of Phoenix to complete all of the designated recipient responsibilities for the region. The most recent amount of program administration funding that the City of Phoenix was awarded was approximately $1.1 million, and that was to cover the cost of 9 full-time employees who are dedicated to program administration. Next slide, please. As the designated recipient, the City of Phoenix is responsible for grant management, compliance, subrecipient oversight, and they are currently managing 52 active grants that total nearly $2 billion across approximately 70 subrecipients. Next slide, please. The recently enacted Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act has increased the amount of formula and discretionary funding available and has created new competitive and discretionary grant programs. As a result, the City of Phoenix is faced with an increased workload and complexity of grant management tasks, and an additional 2 full-time employees are requested. Next slide, please. Shown on the table here at the top are the 2 positions that the City of Phoenix is requesting funding for. The 9 positions that are currently being funded are also shown on the screen for your reference. In total, the cost of these 11 positions is $1.44 million. Note that a federal local match ratio of 80-20 will be applied, and Phoenix will cover the 20% local match with their local dollars. Next slide, please. Vice Chair Link and members of the Transit Committee, this concludes my presentation. The action requested is on your screen. I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Thank you, Steph. Are there any comments or questions from the committee for Steph before we go to a vote?
Kevin Link, this is Matt Dudley, City of Avondale. I'd just like to throw out my appreciation to City of Phoenix for all the hard work they do with the active FTA grant. So this is something we'll definitely be looking to approve.
Thanks for that, Matt. Appreciate it.
This is Anderson.
Yes, Grant, go ahead.
I'd like to know when a position is open and vacant, because now 11 positions for 1,444,000 equals 160,000 a position. So that's good money. I'd like to get in on that.
Benefits are very, very expensive.
This is Christine from Goodyear, and I'm not going to touch what Grant just said, but I am gonna chime in on what Matt said and just say, you know, we really are very reliant on the Phoenix compliance team to make good decisions out here. I have been on the wrong side of one of those decisions a long time ago, and I learned the hard way. You really do need to read the rules and lean on the staff there. And every time I've leaned, they've been there to hold me up. So I am very, very grateful to all the support on the side of the Phoenix Transit Division. And also we'll be looking forward to voting yes.
Thanks, Christine. Any other questions from the committee?
Yeah, Vice Chair, this is Ken. First of all, I just want to thank those of you who spoke for your kind words. Yeah, Phoenix is very dedicated to ensuring we properly oversee and manage FTA funds for the region. Obviously, we've been the designated recipient for a very, very long time, but it's just like in the past couple of decades when the program has really grown with, adding many, many more subrecipients, the dollars and the numbers of programs increasing. And, honestly, for years and years, we were kind of behind the 8-ball chasing, trying to, do grant management and compliance oversight, correctly. So we're hopeful that as we get to this point, this should pretty well staff us up to the level we envisioned a few years ago. We created our transit compliance administrator position, and we've been kind of developing the team and adding to the grants management team as well. We feel confident that with these resources, our success in managing FTA grants will just continue to improve. So just wanted to add those words and just, assure everybody we're here to do it right. And anybody with any FTA projects or funding, you need any questions or assistance, please always reach out to us. That's what we're here for. We're here to be a resource to help make sure that everybody in the region using FTA funds falls in line with all the federal regulations, and we don't have any significant issues that may cost us any funding. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Steph, I just have a quick question on the 1.4. That includes the Phoenix portion of the match, right? That's not all federal funds. That's including the match.
That is correct. That is the total cost. And then that will be split 80-20 federal and local, with Phoenix covering the local.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just want to confirm. Okay, one last shot, one last call. Any more questions?
Oh, I just want to add one thing, Vice Chair Link. You're welcome to the region for all those years where Phoenix totally overlooked getting funding sources outside of the city of Phoenix local funds to fund this program. And really it was, I think, Steph, I think specifically, who kind of opened our eyes to, approaching this differently in terms of, funding with, at least some level of regional, FTA funds, this program, recognizing that it's a regional program that benefits everybody. So for years, the old Transit 2000 monies funded most of the program, but in recent years as well, having this additional funding has really helped us in terms of being able to grow the program to more appropriate staffing level that will help us make sure everything is being done properly.
Agreed. Very good. Thanks, Ken. No more questions. Is there a motion to approve?
Vice Chair Links, this is Matthew Dudley, City of Avondale. Recommend approval of the 1.44 million sub-allocation to the City of Phoenix for program administration in fiscal year 2022 and increase the amount by 3% annually.
This is Sean, City of Buckeye. I'd like to second.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Sean. Hannah, if you would, please.
Thank you, Vice Chair Link. I'll take the roll, and I will start with Ms. Dusenberry.
Aye.
Mr. Dudley.
Aye.
Mr. Banda.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Crampton.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Macias.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Coomer.
Approve.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. McMurdy.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Sorrell.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Colbath.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Kessler.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Wilkie.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. LaPuma.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Elias.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Ketcherside.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair Link.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any other members I did not call that would like to vote? All right. Thank you. Vice Chair Link, the motion passes.
Great. Thank you, Hannah. All right, item number 7, fiscal year 2022 preventative maintenance allocation. As Steph mentioned, this will also be provided will be presented by Steph. This item is for action. Steph, take it away.
Thank you, Vice Chair Link. This is my second of third items for action. So next slide, please. Back to our priorities for the region. The regional programming guidelines for federal transit formula funds outlines the third programming priority for the region is to fund preventive maintenance. Next slide, please. Some background on preventive maintenance. In 2011, the MAG Regional Council approved the current methodology for programming preventive maintenance, or PM, funding for the region. The annual amount allocated is 25% by policy, and this is 25% of the 5307 funds that are allocated to the Phoenix Mesa UZA. Preventive maintenance is defined as all activities and related costs that are required to keep an asset in a good state of repair. Next slide, please. The benefits of preventive maintenance are that everyone comes out as a winner here. So programming federal funds to PM provides a benefit to all member agencies, whether they purchase or operate transit service. Those that operate service see a direct reduction in operating costs, while those who purchase service from other agencies, such as Phoenix or Valley Metro, see reductions in their contract amounts. Next slide, please. There are three primary factors behind the proposal to increase the PM allocation for 2022. Primarily, we just had a very large unprogrammed balance for a few reasons. The first reason is thanks to the IIJA, we saw a nearly 30% increase in 5307 funds that were apportioned to the region compared to what we got last year in 2021. Second is due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there has been a reduced need for expansion buses and expanded service, which has again added even more to the unprogrammed balance. And finally, there is some uncertainty as to what impacts the 2020 census results will have on our annual apportionments beginning in 2023, which is when the new census numbers will go into the formula. For your reference, in 2013, when the 2010 census results were added to the formula, we actually saw a 20% drop in our apportionments to the region. So at this time, our funding levels for 2023 are uncertain. And rather than creating a new capital improvement program or creating some type of competitive regional program, we wanted to propose something that would really benefit all of our member agencies. This is why we have proposed a one-time increase to the preventive maintenance amount from the policy amount of 25% to 55%. Next slide, please. Vice Chair Link and members of the Transit Committee, that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the action requested is on the screen.
Thank you, Steph. Are there any comments or questions from the committee?
Yeah, Vice Chair. This is Ken.
Yes, Ken.
Yeah. So I just want to, and I think we've had this conversation, but not at the committee level, but maybe just directly with MAG staff. So right now we're proposing a one-time change because of the uncertainty of the impacts of the 2020 census. But once the 23 apportionments are out and we kind of see where we land, I'm hoping that we will reevaluate the ongoing 25%, because in my mind, the likelihood that we'll end up with, unless there's a significant impact from the census coming into the formula, there'll be significant additional dollars still. And then, again, preventive maintenance is beneficial in many ways. It decreases the cost of service for all of us, right? And then it also simplifies the administration of the dollars, as opposed to allocating it to a bunch of small capital projects, or like Steph kind of mentioned, if we did like a regional competitive process, we think that's when we kind of end up with these smaller, several smaller capital projects, which then become, all have to follow FTA requirements, the procurement and management and all that sort of thing. So I just want to throw that out there for consideration, that once we do know what those 23 apportionments look like and what any census impact may be, wherever our level of funding lies, that we that MAG staff look at a more permanent ongoing change to the percentage for PM. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken and Vice Chair Link, members of the Transit Committee. That is certainly something that MAG can look into, and we look forward to bringing you some information in 2023 once we have an idea of our future funding outlook. Thank you.
If I
Perfect, thank you.
may, Vice Chairman Link.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Audra.
Yeah, just I appreciate the opportunity to weigh in, and certainly, Ken, thank you for the observation. Mr. Vice Chairman, members of Transit Committee, just a reminder that as we look forward, Proposition 400 extension policy is already documented within the investment plan, and those assumptions, including for preventative maintenance, are carried forward accordingly. So we would have to look forward to a major policy change in the future, acknowledging, of course, preventative maintenance and this formula, which has worked for distribution across the region. As you recall, we actually used the same formula when those COVID dollars came in, recognizing the benefit to the entire agency. But just as a reminder to the committee, those assumptions already set as part of the investment plan.
Okay, thanks, Audra. I have a question for probably both you and Ken. So currently it's sitting at 25%. So, you know, coming down, depending on what the apportionments are going to be in the future years, is that a mandatory percentage, or can it be a moving target depending on what the apportionment is year to year? Or do we have to go back to all the management committees and everything to change it, the percentage, if funding were up or down a given year?
Vice Chair Link, happy to answer this question. The 25% amount is currently set by policy. So any deviation, whether that's up or down, for either a one-time change or an ongoing change, that would have to go through the policy committees at MAG.
Okay, so that's a minimum. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Jason.
This is Jason with Chandler. So I fully support PM putting more money to it, and glad we're looking at this. I think it's a great idea and it will benefit all of us. My question is to go from 25 to 55%, what dollar amount are we talking about investing? What does that equate to in millions of dollars?
Vice Chair Link, Mr. Crampton, thank you. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but last year, 2021, our PM amount was somewhere in the range of $14 to $15 million. This year, with the increase to the apportionment, our minimum PM amount would have been somewhere in the $20-25 million range. And then with all of the additional unprogrammed monies we had, it's looking like approximately $45 million to preventive maintenance for this year.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee?
Yeah, Vice Chair, this is Ken. I have a question to Audra's points about the Prop 400 extension. So is the 25%, is that in the policy of the extension?
Vice Chairman Link, members of Transit Committee, indeed. Funding policies, including specifically for transit and preventative maintenance, were established as part of the approval of the investment plan last summer.
Okay, so in the future, if we do change it, we would have to change both the MAG policy and this other, the Prop 400 extension policy?
Vice Chairman Link, members of Transit Committee, indeed.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, could I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Ken. Can I get a second?
Second, Jason Chandler.
Thank you, Jason. Hannah, if you would.
Thank you, Vice Chair Link. I will start the roll, starting with Ms. Dusenberry.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Dudley?
You have to jump off, Hannah.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Banda?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Crampton?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Macias?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Coomer?
Approve.
Thank you. Mr. Williams,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. McMurday,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Sorrell,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Colbath,
Aye.
thank you. Mr. Kessler,
Yes.
thank you. Ms. Wilkie,
Aye.
thank you. Mr. LaPuma,
Aye.
thank you. Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
thank you. Mr. Elias,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Ketcherside,
Aye.
thank you. Mr. Anderson,
Aye.
thank you. Vice Chair Link,
Aye.
thank you. Are there any other members I did not call that would like to vote?
This is Ratna from Scottsdale. It's aye.
Thank you, Ratna.
Reed Kempton from Maricopa DOT. Aye.
Thank you, Reed. All right, with that, the motion passes.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.
Item number 8, draft fiscal year 2022 transit program of projects. Here again is Steph to present, and this item is for action. Steph?
Thank you, Vice Chair Link, members of the Transit Committee. Thanks for hanging in there this afternoon. This is my third and final item for action. Next slide, please. The Program of Projects, also known as the POP, is a list of transit projects for a given fiscal year that is reconciled with actual federal apportionments and allocations as approved by Congress. The POP is developed with cooperation from our regional partners, the City of Phoenix and Valley Metro, and programming is done in accordance with the priorities outlined in the regional programming guidelines for federal transit formula funds. Next slide, please. To provide a brief overview of the POP process, it begins with MAG, Phoenix, and Valley Metro working together to develop the POP. Once annual apportionments are released by the FTA, the POP is reconciled with the apportionments to make sure that we are not under or over programmed in any of our funding buckets. The POP then goes through a concurrent process through the MAG committee cycle for approval and the Phoenix City Council cycle for approval for grant submittal. Following POP approval, grants are then submitted to the FTA. Next slide, please. Like I have mentioned in my previous presentations this afternoon, we follow a set of programming priorities when programming transit funds for the region. These priorities are shown on the screen for your reference. Next slide, please. The Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, as enacted in the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, IIJA, has increased FTA formula funding by approximately 30% compared to prior year levels. In total, the MAG region has been apportioned nearly $300 million in FTA funding for federal fiscal year 2022. Next slide, please. Approximately $104 million in formula funding has been awarded to the MAG region. Notable projects that are programmed across the formula funds include program administration, preventive maintenance, replacement and expansion vehicles, system-wide refurbishments on the LRT system, which is funded through the State of Good Repair Fixed Guideway Modernization Fund, and a microtransit pilot program for the cities of Avondale and Goodyear, which is funded through 5307 Avondale Goodyear Urbanized Area Funds. Next slide, please. The Capital Investment Grant Program has allocated $100 million to the South Central Extension and Downtown Hub and $50 million to the Northwest Phase 2 Extension Project. Next slide, please. Each year, MAG completes a series of fund transfers through ADOT from the Federal Highway Administration to the Federal Transit Administration. Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Improvement Program, or CMAQ funds, are programmed to light rail vehicle acquisition and professional services. Surface Transportation Block Grant Program, or STBGP, funding is programmed to light rail vehicle acquisition, van pool vans, and preventive maintenance. Please note that the ST-BGP AZ Flex apportionment is an estimate, as we are still waiting on ADOT to release the 2022 amounts. Next slide, please. Finally, approximately 3.8 million has been awarded to the MAG region through community project funding. Community project funds are similar to earmarks, where the funding awarded is restricted for use on the project to which it was awarded. Both Valley Metro and the City of Phoenix were successful in requesting funding awards for electric bus charging stations and infrastructure, as shown on the screen. Next slide, please. Following today's meeting, the POP will go through the MAG committee cycle with anticipated regional council approval on June 22nd and subsequent FTA grant submittal thereafter. Next slide, please. Vice Chair Link and members of the committee, this concludes my presentation today. The action requested is shown on the screen, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Steph. Are there any questions or comments from the committee for Steph?
Vice Chair Link, this is Christine in Goodyear.
Yes, Christine.
Steph, could you confirm the amount that Avondale has for their park and ride improvements? Because Matt seemed to think that you guys only show about $100,000 in the POP, but there was a request for $750,000.
Ms. McMurdy, Vice Chair Link, members of the Transit Committee. Yes, Avondale has been awarded the full $750,000 amount. Only about $100,000 of that is in 2022 dollars. And then the balance of that has been funded with 2020 and 2021 unprogrammed balances. So we were trying to spend our old money first before programming the newer money to that project.
Great, that's what he was thinking too. We just wanted to make sure, and he had to jump off, so I offered to ask for him. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, could I get a motion, please?
I'll move to approve. This is Christine in Goodyear.
Thank you, Christine. Second?
Second. This is Ken from Phoenix.
Thank you, Ken. Hannah, if you would, conduct the roll call vote, please.
Thank you, Vice Chair Link. I will start with Ms. Dusenberry.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Dudley.
Oh, he's out.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Banda.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Crampton.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Macias.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Coomer.
Approve.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. McMurdy.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Kempton.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Sorrell.
Aye. Did you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Colbath.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Kessler.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Wilkie.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. LaPuma.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Stevenson.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Corapella.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Elias.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Ketraside.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair Link.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any other members that I did not call that would like to vote?
Hi, this is Kristen from Surprise. I came on late and I vote aye.
Thank you. All right, Vice Chair Link, the motion passes.
Very good. Thank you, Hannah. All right, item number 9, requests for future agenda items. Are there any requests by any committee members for any future topics or agenda items? Seeing and hearing none, our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, June 6, 2022 at 1 p.m. That one will also be teleconference. With no other items for the good of the order, I adjournment of the meeting at 1:50. Thank you very much for coming, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.